Solomon said it best. If the axe is dull and its edge is unsharpened, it's going to require more strength to use. And that is very true. And not only is it going to require more strength to use, but it's also going to be more dangerous, and it's going to be less effective. Today I'm going to show you guys how to put a proper edge on a hatchet, axe, splitting maul. I'll demonstrate the techniques, I'll show you the tools that you'll need to do it, and I'll explain a little bit of the differences between the three, and as far as metal makeup, design, and those things. The next videos, the videos I'm going to be doing in the future are going to be focusing on the off-grid homestead project, but I'll be mixing in with that what I'll call essential tool videos or essential skill videos like we have today. And I'll be focusing on towards the guys who don't have a lot of background or maybe are trying to put together their arsenal of tools to prepare for tough times or just to be more self-reliant. These will apply if you live in the city or if you live in the country. It makes no difference. And I won't be focusing on the latest, greatest compound miter saw or the latest cordless battery technology. I'll be focusing on the tried and true tools, proven tools, hand tools, quality tools, and tools that are good value, things that you'll be able to do a lot of different work with, whether you have power or not. That's kind of the criteria. If it's got a cord, I'm probably not going to be sharing it with you. Those tools are nice to use now while we have the ability, while we do have power, but where we're going with this is going to be getting back to the old way. So let's go over the tools that you'll need and let's get started. Alright, there's three essential tools you're going to need. That's going to cover most of your sharpening needs, whether it be a lawnmower blade, an axe or a hatchet, shovel, garden hoe, anything like that. And the first thing you're going to use is going to be a good, what they call a bastard file. And bastard files are going to come in typically three lengths. You're going to have an 8-inch, a 10, or a 12. I like to buy the longest one I can get. This is a 12-inch. And the reason why they're called bastard files is they're not a coarse file and they're not a fine file. They're basically somewhere in the middle, hence the name bastard, because the name bastard not only applies to a child born out of wedlock, but it also applies to something that's different. And that's why they got the name. It's different. It's in between. But it's a very good universal file. If you're only going to have one, this is what I would recommend. But what I would recommend you do is, this is a good brand. It's made by Nicholson. They're American-made files. You can pay a lot more for files than these. These are going to be, but you don't need to. These files are going to be available at, I know Home Depot has them, most Ace Hardware stores are going to have them, and you can buy something like this with a handle for about $12. And what I would recommend is you get the 12-inch, get the plastic handle over the wood. The plastic is definitely more durable. Get yourself a fine, a bastard mill file, and a coarse. And that will pretty much take care of all of your needs. And stay away from anything that's made overseas, China, Pakistan. They're not worth the money to buy. These are good American files and they're not expensive. An important tool that you need to get with a file is called a file card. This is a wire brush. As you file, you're going to build up material on the teeth and it's not going to cut very effectively. And you can actually see, probably not on the photo on the camera here, but you can see all of the material from passing over the maul. So after it starts to fill up, you'll feel that it's just kind of drags. You'll take this file card and you'll just clean out the teeth, both sides. Keep your file clean, and it just cleans out those grooves. And you can buy something like this from Nicholson also, good American-made file card for about $5. Essential tools. These are things you need to have. You can get by with filing an edge with just a file. You really don't need any more than this. But if you would like to have a really keen edge, really make it sharp, then you need to go with a stone. There are a lot of different stones out there. Traditionally, they've always been square. And I found this a while back. It's made by Lansky, and what I like about it is it's compact and I can put it in my hand. It's very easy to take a hatchet and to use it in my hand to file. And it's small and compact enough I can throw it in a backpack and actually carry it around. Traditionally, sharpening stones were shaped like this, which these will work fine, and actually they're preferred if you're going to have it on the bench to sharpen knives with. But using them with large tool or hatchets, they're just very unhandy. They're difficult, kind of difficult to hold, and you have to bring the tool to the stone. What I like about the Lansky is you can bring the stone to the tool. Let's chalk it up in the vise and I'll show you how to do it. A good bench vise is also probably one of the most important things you can own. Even if you don't have a place to put it, get one. Get a good American-made one and have it ready. And what is going to work for most guys is a vise. This is a smaller vise. It's a 6-inch vise. And you can, Sears makes good ones, Wilton. Just make sure you buy one that's American-made. Stay away from the vices at Harbor Freight. They look very appealing. They're nice and shiny. But they're terrible. My father's bought one. I have some friends that bought them, and if you beat on them, or pound on them, the whole vise will just break off, even the large ones. So stay away from those. They're not any good. This is a 5.5 inch, not a 6 inch. I would not go any smaller than a 5.5 inch. If you're working with tools or soft finishes, I recommend you use what they call soft jaws. These are a high polyethylene rubber or whatever, high density rubber that you can just have magnets on it that you can put in here. And what it does is it just keeps you from marring soft finishes. And when I get my axes all finished, I don't want to have the indentations of the steel pipe jaws in there. So these will, as you can see, will hold nice and securely and will not mar the finish. Alright. There are different edges for different types of axes. This is a splitting axe. Therefore, it has a broader point on it. For a falling axe or an axe where I want to do a lot of cutting, we'll have a much finer point on it, as you can see. This hatchet edge, you can see this is designed to penetrate and to remove wood, to be able to really sink into it. This is very broad, and what its design is to do is to split and to wedge wood apart. So the edges are going to be a little bit different. You don't need to get overly scientific, but a splitting or a blunt type of tool like this, a splitting maul or splitting axe, you are going to have a fatter edge, more of an angle. Where if when you have a cutting tool, you're going to be a sharper angle like that. So you can pretty much follow the contours of the shape of the tool to get a rough idea of what you're going to have. If you get that too pointed with this type of tool, your edges are going to be brittle and they're going to break off. So just keep that in mind. What you're looking for is running your finger along here, and you're looking and you're feeling for any kind of a nick or dents in the blade. And if you do have those in there, which most people do because they haven't properly taken care of their axes and they put them in the dirt, you're going to need to file those out. And it will be a good lesson for you. After you spend an hour filing all of those dents out, you're not likely to put the axe in the ground again and repeat that. Nor are you very likely to loan it to anyone who doesn't know how to use it. So if you do have those, you will, when you're filing, you'll set and you'll start cutting. And the file cuts forward. Do not go back and forth like this. That doesn't do anything. The file cuts forward and actually does harm to the file. So put your palm on here and start carefully and start working that edge and working that angle. And keep track of how many times you file on this side. You don't want to spend more time on one side than the other, or you're going to, your edge is going to be asymmetrical. Find your angle, and you can see, if you're not sure of the angles or see where you're cutting, you can look here and you can see where the file is cutting. If you see that it's only touching on the very tip, you are too far this way. If you are marking and you're cutting down here, you're too far this way. So it'll take a little bit of practice, but you'll work this on both sides until you get all of those nicks out. This could take a long time, so pull up a chair and stick with it, but you'll get it. A good file like this, a new file, will cut faster than you think. Once you have the nicks removed, a stone like this Lansky stone is nice because it has a coarse, the dark gray, and it has a fine. And so starting with the coarse, I will find my angle and I'll start working. And I'll keep count of how many times I pass over this edge. What I like to do is to come once, twice, 3 times. And then I'll repeat on the other side. Once I do my passes, I'll come over to the other side, find my angle, I'll do that approximately 3 to 4 times, and then I'll switch over to the fine. What I like to I'd like to pay a little more attention when I'm doing the fine side, and when I can look at I watch the edge, and when I can see that I am just lightly scraping just the slightest little bit of dust off the stone, that tells me that I am right on the edge. I'll rotate it in until I see that edge on that axe, just scraping a tiny, tiny bit of dust fragments off the stone. And the closer I get to the end, to the finishing it, the lighter my press is going to be. And I just can't tell you how beneficial, how much easier it is to have a small stone like this that you can hold easily in your hand, and bringing the stone to the tool, then bringing the tool to the stone. Once I make my passes, to finish up, I'll go one side, do one pass here, and I'll do one pass on this side. And now we have a sharp axe. Now keep in mind that this is not a precision woodworking tool. This is a splitting axe. And in just a few passes like that, I was able to put an edge on it with a file and a stone. You know, and you're going to repeat the process, whether it be on your splitting maul, or your little hatchets, or your lawnmower blades. That's it. There really isn't any more to share with you guys. You've got to make an investment of about $25, $30 from good file card, a Lansky stone, and they'll last you a long time. If you take care of them and keep them clean, don't abuse them, you know, these tools will last you a long time, as long as you need them. And something like this, in a WROL situation, an off-grid situation, is invaluable. You'll never be able to replicate it. You'll never be able to duplicate it.